Today, we become legends.
Today's Titan Talk had Max on the show to discuss matchmaking updates, new competitive formats, ranked rewards, and resets, as well as a ton of other stuff. So without further ado, let's jump into today's Titan Talk recap. First up, there's going to be a full patch notes review for OB8 on Friday's show, which will go over everything in the update. We already know most of it from Monday's reveal show, but there should be some additional item balance as well as god balance, and maybe some extra stuff in the patch notes that we didn't get on Monday, so we'll get to that on Friday's show. Today's show, though, had Max on to discuss matchmaking and ranked, and everything that's been going on and will be going on in regards to matchmaking for Smite 2. First up, the team balancing that happens after the match was implemented not too long ago. We've been playing with that for a while. They also said they've done a lot of work specifically on the new player experience for the first 10 to 20 matches in terms of putting new players with other new players more often, and also balancing the god bots and AI matches better for a better experience. The next thing on the agenda for the future, though, is the top-end matchmaking changes that are aiming to try and group top-level players into lobbies as much as possible and having a unique way of putting those players together more often than the standard matchmaking algorithm would. There's going to be a new system within the same ranked queue that will internally work a lot more like a timed queue. This is for Obsidian plus ranked players only, and it will not be made by the normal matchmaker if it is at all possible for the top-down matchmaker to create them a game. This top-down matchmaker works somewhat like Smite 1 did, where it just takes the top 10 SR players in the queue and puts them in a match, then the next top 10, and the next top 10, and so on. There's going to be time gating for this, and Max mentioned that around 8 minutes is where the cutoff is going to be, where top-down matchmaking is considered failed at that point, and it will matchmake you in the normal way. So if you are a top-end ranked player, and once the system is implemented, your queues are going longer than 8 minutes, you'll be matchmade in the normal way. So if the match feels kind of different or weird, that's probably why. This will usually be the case if there are physically not 9 other players to put you in a match with via the top-down system. Max also said they will consider expanding the system in the future, maybe to Diamond Plus instead of Obsidian Plus. This system will almost certainly result in longer queues for those queuing above Obsidian, but should also result in higher quality matches with more top-end players grouped together rather than being split up into multiple lobbies with a mix of lower level players. This seems like a great way to address it in my opinion, as hyper-competitive, high SR ranked players are going to be the ones that are more happy to wait longer for a better match, whereas the rest of the ranked population will use the normal matchmaker and will still get faster queues than the top-end players will. This system was actually pushed live for testing a few days ago, so if you're an Obsidian Plus ranked player and have been playing ranked in the last few days, you've been under the new system. Max showed off this graph, which is a bit of a mess to understand at first, but I'll try to explain it. Basically, this is showing matches made with the top 50 SR players in the queue at certain times. Blue means they were selected for that match, grey means they were not selected for it. The red line to the right shows when the new system was implemented. You can see that after it was pushed live, the top ranked player in the queue is being selected more often, as are the other top players. The blue lines being solid basically means they were always selected for that match, so when a queue pops, the top player was consistently selected for a match. So after the change, you can see that very often the top 9 players were all pulled into the same match, and the other slot was usually filled by someone in the 10th to 15th best player range. Whereas before, you would often see players as low as 20th or even 25th being pulled into that match, whereas some of the top or second or third players weren't being pulled in. So basically, under the new system, you're far more likely to get the very top end players into the same match, which is really good. It keeps those players happy and it keeps them out of lower level games, which should improve matchmaking for everyone. They get a more competitive match with people they know, and people lower down the ladder don't have to deal with random pro players in their matches anywhere near as much. Moving on though, the ranked reset was discussed and Max said it should be scheduled for OB9. It will be a soft reset, so everyone will be shuffled downwards but won't be completely reset. Higher SR players will be affected more than lower SR ones. This is how it worked in Smite 1 as well. They also said the rewards will be granted in the patch after the split reset, and they also said this will be the start of split 2 out of 4 for this year, which is a bit late. You would expect a ranked reset in March if there's going to be 4 splits, but I assume there'll just be a shorter split somewhere to make up for this. There will also be higher variance at the start of the split as usual, so basically you'll move more SR per match for a while to give some mobility at the start of the ranked ladder. In terms of what the ranked rewards will be, there will be titles for the Deity, Demigod, and ranked speedrun players, and the main reward will be the loading frame that displays your current highest rank, so this will update if you achieve a higher rank later in the split. This will be your peak rank, so if you hit Diamond but then drop back down to Plat when the split ended, your border will still be Diamond. Moving into OB10 though, as discussed a little bit in previous matchmaking talks, there will be a new competitive format for Conquest, which is going to be solo queue only with divisions based on your current rank on the ranked ladder. And it will be sort of a weekly cup format. So basically an in-game tournament style system, but solo queue only and based on your current rank. Someone in chat asked about splitting the player base, and Max clarified that this will be a limited time thing that might be going on for like 1 or 2 nights a week, and it might split the player base while it runs, but it won't be a permanently open queue or anything. And going forwards towards OB11 and the future, they're looking at other similar competitive formats for non-conquest modes, specifically Joust and Duel, which a lot of people have been asking for. Someone asked in chat if they have matchmaking for non-ranked modes, and they said yes, they do. It works the same way it did in Smite 1, in terms of you have a hidden matchmaking rating that is used to make matches in casual modes. Max also did stress that if you have bad matches, let them know, but also consider the time of day and region, as some lower population regions playing in the middle of the night simply might not have enough players in the queue to make a great match, and it's either a mediocre or bad match or no match at all. Someone asked in chat about the controller vibration issues, and they said they're aware of them, but no current updates on it yet. There was a question if you're more likely to get matched with cross-platform players if you're in a party with one, and Max said no, parties don't affect this at all, and there's just full crossplay in all modes regardless of anything else. Someone asked if the competitive cups will have rewards of any kind, and Max said yes, they will, but they haven't nailed down any specifics on it yet. Someone asked for updates to the role-based SR that they've mentioned previously, and Max said they are still working on it and they think it'll have very positive benefits, but from the sounds of it, it's probably still a ways out and they have other matchmaking priorities to deal with right now. There was a question about God leaderboards, and Max said no firm timeline, but they're working on building out the tech to have multiple leaderboards on the back end in-game, and once they get the second leaderboard working, it's probably going to be a lot easier to implement future ones, so that should speed up God leaderboards substantially. Double worshippers will be coming on Friday, so get ready to grind out your ascension passes over the weekend. Someone asked if there's a way to include active player population numbers in the game, and Max said yes, they do want to do this eventually, but they're not sure when due to UI bandwidth and the team working on other things. There was a question about losing more or less R if you specifically are a lower rank than most other people in the game, but you still win, and vice versa, of course, and Max said yes, this will be coming in the future. They also mentioned that a full pre-made team tournament mode can definitely come in the future as well, but the solo queue cup format is much easier to implement, and they will trial that, see if it goes well, and then if it does, they can definitely do a full 5-man team tournament style in the future. Someone asked if they can make a build with God Builder and send it to their friend who's new, and they said they will appear in the community build section, but it will be likely until OB9 that you'll be able to directly search for a certain player's build and copy those. And finally, someone asked if there's any more plans to do more Blink testing, or if they're happy with the current implementation of Blink, and they said generally they are happy with Blink at the moment, and also a lot of the design team right now are working on the item overhaul and resolving issues related to that, so there's been less room to work on stuff like Blink tests. They said it's probably not the final iteration of Blink or anything, but at the moment they're relatively happy with where it's at. But that's everything discussed on today's Titan Talk. A ton of matchmaking, ranked, and competitive updates on today's show, of course, due to having Max on, so let me know down below how you feel about these updates and the plans for new competitive formats going forward, and I'll catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.